Hmm? What am I doing here?
What day is it?
This is it's not.
It's Saturday Night Live with your hosts, Jim Beard, Lefty, Molly Horst, and with special interview by Marley Jaxx.
Very, very special Saturday Night Live, which is very foreign to us. Usually it's Friday Night Live, but it was too good. We couldn't help ourselves because the absolutely incredible Marley Jaxx said that she would do an interview with us today, talking about this amazing journey that she's been on for 4 months now. Is that right?
4 months. Yeah.
4 months working on this steadily. And I remember she wouldn't even tell me. She wouldn't tell me. She kept it hush hush, but she was like, I got something cooking. And I was like, okay, all right. So I knew that something was coming. I had no idea. You hit me with that.
Surprise!
Yeah, surprise. So for those of you that have been living under a rock for the last, 72 hours? Is that how long this has been going?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, I would say, yeah, because
hours?
it was Wednesday night?
Yeah.
Wednesday night. Yeah.
So Dan Henry, who is a big name in the ClickFunnels space, decided to put up a post, which happened to be about Marley Jaxx. And it was stating to the effect of a rap sheet that something had happened. She had been arrested and that she was trying to hide this for whatever reason. And then the comments just ensued, right? Natural eyeballs just came to town. So I'll let you take it from there, just to give us kind of an overview of what these 72 hours have been from an outward perspective.
The last 72 hours have been honestly like the most anxiety producing in my life. Maybe not in my life, but very high up there. It was honestly painful. And like what you see in the documentary is very genuine. Like I was upset. I was having a really hard time with this. There was a lot of guilt and shame. And also on two perspectives though, because like here I am creating this scenario, but then also knowing what everyone's going to know very soon after seeing it. And like not sure how people are taking the rumor mill right now, but then also not sure how people are going to perceive the release. And so it was very painful. And then we also, like, I was at a mastermind this week in person with my peers. So that was also really, I was paranoid, like walking into the room. What do people know? Do they not like me? Are they mad at me? Are they giving me like weird looks, or is this just all in my head? So it was like, I could not stop shaking for 48 hours for sure. Like I hardly slept. And our actual plan was to release the video on Sunday. And we rushed like getting those last pieces in. I sat like next to my editor until we had it done. And I'm very happy with how it turned out. But we were like, no, we're just going to launch this earlier than Sunday.
And I have seen it, and it is absolutely incredible. I know because I'm done editing myself. Lefty's done editing. So has Molly. We all know there's a lot of love and hard work that went into that video.
Yeah.
And it shows. You built the drama, you built this story just beautifully. It came out really, really well. And I hope that you're incredibly proud of this piece of work that you birthed into the world. And so I got to ask, what started all of this? Where does this begin for you?
It started as just like seeing how much online the landscape has become so just feisty. And we're kind of friends, like we've known each other for a while. Like you've seen the stuff that I'd gone through in the past, and then also seeing like how that affects our community and how people can just jump onto it. And you see in the video where I share one of the scenarios where I got like semi-canceled, that this rumor spread like crazy. And then there's been things that have happened since then that were just like, can people ever like just look for facts or like compassion over cancellation instead? And so that just spurred like, I wonder if I can take a stand for this. And instead of just being like, yeah, it sucks and like there's nothing we can do, or just instead of letting yourself be attacked, attack the attacker, like what can I actually do to take a stand for this? And so we came up with this crazy idea of like, what if we created an experiment where I tried to get myself canceled and actually demonstrate what that looks like, show different angles of it. Like we interviewed a cancel culture expert, like someone who has literally written the book on cancel culture, who has worked with clients who have had death threats or had people at their door trying to kill them because of a situation, like very extreme. Other people that have been canceled, other people that have been in like workplace situations that, you know, they couldn't get the help that they needed because of fear of cancellation. Like we've, as much as people can, you know, have some opinions or be heated over it, and they're totally welcome to, that's the point of this. This was calculated, and this was very intentional and careful in how we created it. And yeah, like I hope that is seen. Definitely there's people that love it and there's people that hate it. And I'm like, mission accomplished, because it's getting people talking.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
Molly, I would love to hear you kind of chime in with this, because I've seen you're a part of some causes as well that are near and dear to your heart. Would you ever go this far?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not in the hot seat right now, Jim. I'm not in the hot
I'm
seat.
interested to hear though.
I got a question for Marley though.
Okay, go ahead.
Were there any repercussions outside that happened because of your experiment that you were not necessarily planning for?
Yeah, like we didn't expect the reaction against Dan as harsh as we did. And there were multiple times where I was like, I want a time machine. Like, let's just either like, I want to see how this turns out, or I want to go back and pretend it never happened. And there were like, we were in, you know, group chats with Dan being like, hey, do we need to pull back on this? Do we need to like let the cat out of the bag? What do we do? And it is crazy how committed he was to this. He was like, nope, double down. And you can see some of the posts that he made on his own that were like completely off script that I did not tell him to do, but he was like, he stirred the pot and he like took it all out. And not only did he, you know, post what we had asked him to post, like he that with us, like was very strategic in like, okay, you know, here's how, because we, you know, had to shift the plan a little bit based on the response that he was getting. That we're like, okay, we need some more heat on Marley. So now what do we do to take it off of him and on me? And that's where we made that screenshot where I sent the text to him saying like, I will pay you, just take it down. And then that last line of like, I can make up anything I want about you, and people will believe it. And we were like, we got to go like Amber Heard. That was kind of the intention. And we got that comment in the chat of like, whoa, she's Amber Heard. And it was interesting, the comments that, and I'll be honest, I never looked at the comments. Like my heart could not handle it. Yeah. So I have a team that like would tell me some little things. And I know that they have screenshots of the entire thing. But I looked at the comments on Wednesday night, and that was the last time I looked at them.
I thought it was so interesting when people started talking, not just responding to you, not just responding to Dan, but instead cross communicating to each other. Then took this extra layer where it took off like wildfire at that point, I think, because it was no longer I think what you guys did gave people permission to talk to each other in a different way than we usually would. And that I found was really, really fascinating.
I love that. I hope for that. And it's been really cool that the comments that came out. So when Dan and I did the Facebook Live after, or like when we released the video, and I was shaking for that whole thing too, like leading up to it, I was like, oh my gosh, 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 3 minutes, 60, like, and I just wanted to get it out, but my voice is shaking in that, like, how are people? And I, again, didn't look at the comments. I was like, I'm here to share my message. And like, this is it. I'm all in, I'm committed. And throughout the whole time when I was wishing for a time machine, I was like, here's the vision of what we're trying to create. And I just had to hold on to that. But what was I saying? In the Facebook Live, it was really interesting. I didn't look at the comments until after. Like I needed to just like let my nervous system regulate a little bit. But seeing how at first the comments, like people were frustrated, people were agitated, people felt tricked, people felt annoyed. And then I started to see it turn to like, oh, that's why you did this. And there are first like people that are still upset about it. And like, and in my message, I say like, if you're upset about this, it's not my intention to negatively provoke you, but this was meant to be provocative. Yeah. This was meant to be triggering to create this conversation. And if you are mad, let's reflect, like, let's push that towards cancel culture. Like think of all the people that are hurt by cancel culture and that it creates so much more trauma than it's claiming to represent. So, it was really cool. Even now, like it can be so addicting to look at the comments and but it feels awful to just see what else is happening. And so there's some comments that I'll for sure respond to that I like want to give here's the reason why. If someone's like really upset about it, or if someone's really, encouraging of it, I want to say thank you. But it's been cool that like, even if I step away from the comments for hours, the conversation is happening. And that is exactly what we wanted.
Yeah.
I would love to see you at some point, if this idea for you to sit down with a psychologist and go through those comments from the beginning and have them talk you through the psychology of what's happening.
Yeah.
That would be intense, because I was watching it real time. I messaged you immediately when I saw it. I was like, dude. But like watching it, it was like watching a movement happen in microcosm. Like watching something build. And then like you said, they started communicating with each other, and that's when it went exponential.
Yeah.
To where it's like, I don't agree with your viewpoint. I don't agree with yours. Yours dumb. You're this, you're that. And then it's like not even about you anymore.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
This other thing. Now it's like a pivot to a greater thing. I would love to see like the psychology behind just watching that thread.
That'd be really cool. Well, you want to know, I'll give you a little secret, like exclusive, whatever. Next video that we're doing is called Fabricating a Scandal. And so we are going to show some of the behind the scenes of this, but then also like, look what else happens in politics and in Hollywood and how easily people can be manipulated. Or Ryan Holiday's book, Trust Me, I'm Lying. Like what a great example. And so that's going to be the next video. We have another video after that called Manufacturing Fame. There's going to be some really cool topics that we're going to keep speaking on that I hope bring up a whole, like just conversations like this. I don't think that we will do anything I shouldn't say anything and not ever, but like the next ones are not going to be a publicity stunt as much as this one.
What was even funnier was the people that were like, all right, what am I buying? Like, what?
That was kind of funny.
What are you talking? That was on your live when you came out with your like.
I had to say it a few times. I was like, I am not trying to sell you anything. This is not a sales pitch. I just really want to reiterate that.
And some people saw it that way, that it was like a dramatic demonstration to get attention.
I mean, it is, but not leading to
but not for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I'm trying to sell you anything, I'm trying to sell you on let's cancel culture.
Yeah.
So
what was your... Sorry, Jim, to just chime in for a second, because we're talking about the comments. What was your favorite worst comment that you saw?
Oh, there's people in there that like they are under a fake name, and I know exactly who they are.
Okay.
Which I don't want to call them out publicly. I can tell you behind the scenes, but like I know exactly who they are. That you said personal things that I'm like. I know who this is. Dan got a really rough one of someone that said to him, like, this is why you only see your son twice a month or something like that.
Whoa.
And
I did not see that.
I didn't see that.
Really. And like what you don't know is Dan got remarried to his wife, and he has his son full time. And it's like, he's not loud he doesn't have to be loud about his personal things, but man, people can just like, those pitchforks.
So dark.
But at the same time, we were trying to get a reaction, and Dan is Dan was like, I'm here for it. And of course he's.
And I got to say, you picked the perfect person. Like, perfect.
No one else. Who else would do this? Like,
he's such a cool dude. He's no stranger to wanting to be a little controversial.
Yeah.
He's no stranger to being outspoken, and he's very giving and kind to those close to him in his circle. So like, just nailed it on choice right there.
Yeah. And it's really cool how committed he is to it even after. Like, he's in the comments a lot more than I have been. And really just like standing up for this cause. And it's great, the debates that are happening, and they're also really mature. Like, someone called him out saying, you tried to cancel me for something, and he was like, you're right, I was upset about that. And that was not like, he just kind of came clean and was like, yeah, I apologize, and here I messaged you, but I didn't get a response. I wanted to apologize. I was like, this is a really mature conversation happening in this chat right now. I respect that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So what was it like behind the scenes to set all this up? Like, this is like a juggernaut that you created. Like, what do you have your whole team on this? Is Steve and his crew setting it? Is like mom helping out? Like, what does this look like behind the scenes?
My mom didn't know until the video came out today, and I was wondering if at some point I should tell her, like, hey, in case you see my mugshot online. But I didn't tell my parents anything.
When it comes to,
I just wasn't sure if I should wait for pause for that.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
What is that?
I muted myself, so I know it's it's not on mine. But all right,
okay,
we're good. I think we're good now. So
cool. I'll just
start
that or something. I didn't tell my mom until the video came out today, and I wondered if at some point I should tell her, like, hey, if you see my mugshot online, like, it's all just, it's not real. But I didn't say anything. Steven, I mean, you see in the documentary, he played his role of like coming in when the police were at the door. But that was all he was involved in. And I was sure to like let him know what we were doing so that he could be prepared for it. Cause I also don't think many, relationships would be open to that, because he's for sure affected by it. Like, he was getting inundated by messages. When we were at this mastermind the other day, people were coming to him being like, is Marley okay? And he was just, he held it so well. He's just like, she's preparing her response, which is accurate. Like, he didn't, let it go.
That rock.
It was intense for both of us, but he was like, he being the capitalist pig, he's already the kind of person that's willing to wear a label on his chest and say, like, I stand for something very strongly. So for him, he's like, this is a regular Thursday. So he was also really supportive for me when I was going through the emotional turmoil of it.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Awesome.
Talking about that emotional turmoil, you have a life, you have a family, you have your business, and then this. What do you recommend for people having gone through your experience of this? Whatever guidance and advice you have for people who are feeling like they're having that mild sense of cancel. Maybe not the Amber Heard extreme, but sometimes we post things online and we get a response, we get a reaction that isn't what we're expecting.
Yeah.
How do you find that balance? How do you deal with that?
So from having this experience and then also having my own mini cancellation experiences where there were gossip trains and rumors and things, and then also being on the outside and seeing other friends of mine be so hurt by cancel culture, being torn down, having their lives and their livelihood ruined, my advice, when I was on Thursday, when it was at its height, like when the screenshot just dropped of the text that we fabricated, I was at this mastermind and it was my turn to go on stage and share, and I am shaking. Like, I can't keep my cool. And I was about to say, like, sorry, no, I'm just going to pass. And then I was like, no, we can do hard things. Like, maybe something good will come from this. I'm just going to be vulnerable. I had nothing prepared. I couldn't even prepare a presentation. So I just went up there and I was like, I am having a really bad day. there's something going on online. I don't know how many of you guys have seen it, but I'm very paranoid and I'm hurting right now. And one of the people in the room was like, the internet is not real. You're in a room full of people that love you. And that was that line carried me through so much, because it's so true. The internet, like, there's all these people that can hide behind screens, or they can talk and like not actually be face to face. But a lot of the people that are in the comments and are maybe heated or upset, like, if we had a conversation face to face, that conversation would be very different. That's not to say that like there are for sure people that will be face to face with you and, degrade you or yell at you or scream at you, and like, but it would be very different. And things can just be so conflated and taken out of context, or like people see a snippet and make a whole judgment based on that instead of actually looking at the whole thing. Like, we had comments from people that at first that didn't like it and were so upset and so mad. And then this morning they slept on it. They watched the documentary, messaged me saying, actually, I'm not mad anymore. I changed my mind. Like, I see it now. And so I hope for that. I hope that people that are a little heated, great. Like, one of the things that I said in my video is, if you're emotional, great. People need to feel to be able to take action. Yep. And I hope that people have that epiphany, because that's going to be the epiphany that really makes the biggest impact, because they felt it so deeply.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And I mean, nowadays you got to shake people, to cut through the noise. We talk about how to cut through the noise in a just bustling marketplace, to where you're like, I have something I want to say, and it's like just everything flying by all the time. And what you did got people to go, oh, okay, I'm going to watch this for a minute. This is interesting. And they went down that rabbit hole with you. And that's incredible. I think it's truly incredible what you pulled off, and I hope that you are incredibly proud of what you created. And the last thing I want to ask you is, what's next? And do you think this will have any lasting effect for you going forward?
Well, what's next? I kind of teased that we're going to create, the next video is fabricating a scandal. And so we start filming that on Tuesday. And we've been filming some of the other pieces for, manufacturing fame. We also have another one, the toxicity of hustle culture, that we're working on. We've already filmed lots of it. And so now it's just putting it all together. And this one took 4 months. So I'm like, I don't want the next ones to take 4 months. So now we have like multiple projects that we're working on at a time. So that's what's next. And do I think this will affect me, have lasting change? I hope so. That's the point of it, is that it will not only create like change for me, and like there are people that will perceive me differently from now on. They've canceled me. They don't like me. Maybe there's people that do like this and have respect for this, and I'm like grateful to be the person that planted that seed for them. And I hope that, like, when we launched this video, I was like, we can't go back from this. So all the content moving forward is this like 1% content, like the content for the 1% who are willing to do what 99% of people are not willing to do. How many people are willing to get canceled for something that they believe in? 1%. And so I hope that this content is inspiring, and that's how I hope it affects my content moving forward, and my message moving forward, and my business moving forward. Is like, it's only up from here. And this is, we can't go back to like talking head instructional content. This is the message we're going forward with.
Yeah, this is the message we're going forward with.
I love that so much. So much. And she absolutely killed it. Like, what? Who here in the audience, people watching, who has gone to themselves, I believe in this. I'm going to literally shake people and let them know in a big way my opinion on something. I'm going to stand for this. I'm going to plant my flag. I would say that Robert J. Moore, you are absolutely fantastic, Robert. Thank you so much for joining us, man. It's very few. Yeah, it's very, very few. Steve took a stand with capitalist pigs, and that's something that he still pays for at airports. But this is loud. This is in a big way, and there's a lot of people that really didn't like it. And she said, that there are people reaching out to her now that are saying, I watched it, now I get it. And so I'm thankful for that people are taking that step. And by the way, the link to the actual documentary is in the comments. We will link it several times throughout. So if anyone joins late, that you have the access to that as well. It's amazing.
So good.
She really, really rocked it, her and her team. And obviously she's got a bunch of people that are assisting her on this and helping her. And she went to different sites and spoke to different experts. And it's incredible. It really is. And, it gets you thinking, like, do I believe in anything strong enough to dedicate 4 months to? Do I believe in anything strong enough to dedicate 4 months to it and literally no one knows it's happening? Including your mom.
Yeah.
Like, wow. Her mom found out when the live went live. That's crazy.
Talk about keeping a secret, huh?
Total commitment. And I love everything about it. And I'm so thankful that she is able to join us. And it just gets you thinking, right? Gets you thinking about what moves your heart, and would you be willing to take a step like that and kind of, stick your neck out maybe a little too far?
I think it goes back to the whole to be your all, you can't be for all little question there, right? Or statement, I should say. And unfortunately, I just feel like if you want to get to a certain position in life, or if you want to talk about a certain topic, or if you're gonna just do anything outside of the norm, like you're gonna piss someone off. It's inevitable, you know what I mean? But obviously it was done for the greater good. It wasn't mischievous, it wasn't spiteful, it wasn't maybe some of the comments were, but other than that
Dan comment.
Ooh, yeah,
man, that went for the throat.
Like one hit wonder, but yeah, it's bound to happen. Like, you gotta you want to make an omelet, you gotta crack some eggs, man. Like that's it. Like, plain and simple.
I had feelings about this, like legitimate feelings. Because on the one hand, Marley's someone who I care deeply for as someone within this sphere, as a peer within this sphere. Ooh, MC Molly in the house. And so to see her, and as a peer of someone, as another woman in this space, particularly, like there's a sense of sisterhood there. And to see her being trashed in such a way, I kind of felt like there was some sort of personal attack, because the comments in many ways that I saw were attacks against her as a woman. There was comments about her and how she's dressed, and how she always looks great, and how that's going to be something that is a negative part to her. And so I started to I started to feel personally attacked in little ways, because I see little bits of my story in Marley's story, right? Mm-hmm. She tells stories well. She's effective. She's got me hooked. Well done, Marley. But because of that, I had feelings, and I was dealing with whether or not I wanted to speak about it. I even, honestly, when the post came out that she was going to go live and she was going to explain it, I saw it first on Marley's page. So I said, I'm going to attend. Then, like 20 minutes later, I saw it on Dan's page. And something about that didn't sit well with me. And I literally unclicked that I was attending, because I realized it was the same event. And now it feels like Dan is capitalizing, and Dan has just trashed someone who I care about, and has created an atmosphere that is really toxic and I don't want to be part of. And so I didn't even want to watch the live in the first place, because I didn't want to see someone in pain. But I sit through it, I watch it, and it was the moment that Marley says in that live, I hope you have an emotion of some sort that she just talked about. I hope this rattled you in some way. I hope you have an emotion, because I want you to turn that emotion to what's really the root problem.
Yeah.
My emotion was about people being toxic to each other, about people jumping to conclusions without getting to know each other. They were literally judging each other by 7 sentences that each other was writing in comments. They didn't know the full story of what was happening behind the scenes of these people's lives that they started trashing. And it was when Marley says, I want you to turn that anger towards cancel culture and the root of what is bringing this anger. That's when it all clicked for me. And I went, yes, let me deal with these emotions. Let me realize Marley's okay. I don't need to feel empathy, or I don't need to feel that kind of pain, because she's okay. She's good. She's got this handled. She's in control. The other stuff, as she says, it's just the internet. The internet isn't real. Marley's got she's got it. She's good. And the moment that I knew that she was okay and she was in control, then I started to see what she was saying. Cancel culture. It's all of us jumping to those conclusions. It's all of us just instantly judging and not taking a step back, not taking a moment to breathe and say, hey, what's going on around us? What are the complexities? What are the nuances that are happening within this situation that maybe I can ask more questions instead of stating more statements? So, yes. Yeah. So we got some great comments in here. I want to start from the top. So, yes. Mini movie. This is the story that needs to be told.
Because Lefty, our own Lefty, is making a short film right now about Tawan.
Yes.
Which I think is absolutely incredible, about his story of coming from that life to now where he is able to live freely and help others as he can. So, Robert, I think that's absolutely amazing. And yes, we would absolutely love to have you on the show.
Oh, yeah.
So what I really thought was interesting was watching the psychology play out. And we talked about this a little bit, right? So I want to get into this a little bit more. It was like frustration, then denial. It was like they went through all of the phases of acceptance.
Yeah.
And then it was like anger, and then it went to like it hadn't gotten to acceptance until her life, right? Because it was kind of an open loop. But you could see like the psychology play out, and it was fascinating.
So let's go through.
So well done.
Let's legitimately go through the stages of grief and discuss how we saw those exemplified. Okay. First step, denial. How did we see people denying this?
Oh, absolutely. So it was just no, Marley would never do that. That's not Marley. Yeah. You're crazy, Dan. You're a jerk, Dan.
That was me.
You're making this up. You're making this up. Unfounded.
Yeah, so it's not real is denial. You're a jerk, Dan, is stage 2, which is anger. And that's what Marley said was so fascinating, because I asked her about those different repercussions that she wasn't really accounting for. She didn't even predict. And that was the anger that was directed towards Dan, this viciousness. And so that is where I saw a ton of anger coming out. And then we have bargaining. So I saw people who were saying,
oh my God.
What? We don't know the situation. Maybe there was something to do with Steve's baby mamas or Dan's baby mamas, or there was baby mamas involved. And maybe that's where like Marley came out.
Well, there was bargaining too, because it was like, Dan, please take this down. I really would appreciate it, because we don't know enough yet. You don't know the facts. You're bargaining. Like, please do this until this.
And then we also saw Marley had even predicted bargaining as a psychological trigger for us in this narrative by sending out those those faked Voxer messages.
Because too many people were turning against Dan.
Yep.
Because too many people were turning against Dan. and saying, you shouldn't have done this. This is messed up. Who are you to be like this? And so, and then obviously then very, very hateful comments towards Dan.
Yeah.
And then the Voxer message came out. And the Voxer message at the end, that was the kicker, was I can say anything about you and everyone will believe me.
Yeah.
I read that and I was like, oh.
I want to know who came up with that.
Oh, that's a harsh one. That's a harsh one.
So as someone, like, what did you really, what was going through your head when you saw those messages?
Me? Oh man, like
Jim, because like I know up until that moment, Jim is 120% behind Marley. Like,
yeah, of course.
Heart and soul, I know this. What happened?
You see that, and then you think to yourself, one of two things. And I'm still bargaining, by the way, at that point. Because I'm still going, this could have been photoshopped. This could have been this. This could have been that. I'm like zooming in on the image. I'm like, wow. And you just kind of sit with it for a second. Like, this is,
it's a legit message.
Wow. Yeah. I don't know what to do with this information. But I had the luxury of knowing that something was coming because I had spoken to her at FHL. And so because of that, I had a little tip. So I was like, oh, this must have been the thing.
But you didn't know specifically that this was the thing.
No, she did not give me any.
So we couldn't. It could have been completely.
It could have feasibly been a completely different thing. It could have been a completely different thing.
Me not knowing anything, because you guys have known Marley longer than I have, and I can't even really say that I even still know Marley. This was our first face-to-face interaction, but we have like I've had comment conversations with her on her videos and whatnot. But I remember reading that, and what was going on through my head at that point was, like, you hear of like really cruel, nasty people, like you just hear of them, but you would never think that you would be in such close proximity to somebody who is that nasty, right?
Yeah, there were some people in there that I'm in groups with, that I've conversed with, that I've done videos with, to where I get on a Zoom with them and spend time with them for free, just giving them free advice, free time. And I'm like, whoa, you're going to come out like that? Yeah. You come out swinging like that?
But when I saw that message, I was just like, number one, first impression, in my opinion, is everything. And I can catch first impression kind of like who you are as a person, just based off of like how you are in your video. Like right away, I can immediately call it out if like you're fake, or like if you're authentic, or if you're a genuinely sweet person, or you're kind of catty, or whatever the case might be. And I didn't get any sort of negative vibes from Marley. And I was like, nah, like what the hell? She wouldn't do that. And then that message came out of like, I can say anything and like believe me.
That was a gangster message.
That was a gangster message. I gotta admit, like, sick message, but like it was just like, oh my God, my heart sunk at that point, because I was like, this guy is literally just like, oh my God, like where is his power? I don't understand. Like I kind of started questioning like who his inner circle is, what kind of power he has, like what does he mean by he could say anything and no matter what, people are going to believe him. That's where I kind of went to. It was like, what power does he hold outside of just being an influencer or whatever it is, right? Because that's, I don't know, my head goes into weird places, but like I was just like, yo, this guy's holding some power if he can make a comment like that.
He's a big personality. He's a really big
absolutely, yeah.
He really is, and he's become very, very successful and is really, really good at what he does. He has great business. So there's a lot of people that look up to him, and especially like he came out with like Facebook ads strategy, right?
Oh, and
it wasn't anything incredibly groundbreaking. He was just really, really good at delivering that information in a way that people understood easily and could implement. And because of that, he just took off.
Right.
And ever since then, he's been on top, doing really, really well for himself. So that's where his audience comes from. It's mostly from the ClickFunnels community.
Yeah.
And same thing with Marley and Steve, for that matter. It's very much ClickFunnels centric. And then you grow from there, right? You become the big fish in a little pond, and then you move to a different pond to where you're a little fish again, and you grow. So Dan was just such a perfect choice. Such a perfect choice. Like I said in the video, I mean, he has that perfect combination of personality. His inner circle is real tight. He is incredibly convincing and persuasive. No stranger to controversy.
It's on brand for him. It's perfect.
Loves to stir the pot. Loves to get a reaction out of people. And this is just perfect. It was a perfect choice. Perfect. And it was funny because even in his video, he goes, "Who else could have chosen you, or could you have chosen?" He goes, "That was the only choice."
Exactly.
I thought that was amazing.
Exactly.
But it's true. You got to be very particular when it comes to, because I do it all the time. Like casting is a huge part of what I do, right? So it's really it's so crucial, especially when you're playing or you're putting something together that's like so cutthroat. Like the smallest little inconsistency, or like even just accidentally hiring the wrong person, you can shit the bed on the entire project.
Can you imagine them picking one of their other friends like Ryan Lee or Alex Sharpin to do that? It just, no one would have bought it. No one would have bought it.
It would have been,
even if it was from Sharpin.
It would have been quite interesting to see how Sharpin would have spun
or Jim
this type
Edwards
of criticism. That's impossible.
Like, it just wouldn't have had the same
Rusty.
hit.
No,
Rusty,
it should have been Russell.
Yeah, Rusty wouldn't have gotten it across. No one would have believed him. He probably wouldn't even be able to keep a straight face.
Hey guys, I gotta tell you about my friend Marley because she got arrested.
He doesn't have that much of a high voice. What is happening? It's like him on helium or something. But what I love about this is that what we do is we get a lot of attention, capture attention, nurture, and close potentially leads, and then we have a following and a brand. And it's all business centric. This isn't business centric. Yep. This is cause centric. This is heart led. This is very different.
Land.
This is movement land. So, and it hits much different. There's definitely entrepreneurs that pursue heart led movements, but not like this. This felt very much like one of those videos from like a Mr. Beast, to where he's trying to just help people. There's no benefit to him. Yes, he monetized his channel. He makes enormous amounts of money from his channel. No one is denying that. But he doesn't have to do all these things if
he didn't have the channel.
Yeah. He doesn't have to do it as much as he does, to the extent or to whom he does it for. And he does it anyway. And he makes it a point that part of his brand and his image is that he gives back, and that's important to him. And he'll bring up things that bother him. And if you're an entrepreneur that's not movement or heart-based, you may be afraid to do something like that because you haven't created a space that's safe to do so. So I really love what she's doing. It's a big pivot. Big pivot. I mean, we're talking breakneck turn.
I didn't see it as much of a pivot as you do.
I do.
I didn't see it that way because in her live video, look in the back corner. This is something that Jim taught me to do.
Oh, true. Look in the background.
Look in the background. Look around. Be observant. Marley had a bright yellow telephone, very obviously visible in the background of her videos. Where is this yellow telephone from? Now I sound like I'm a conspiracy theorist, but Hear me out, guys. Yellow telephone in the background. Where's the yellow telephone from? Other
Call your
clue.
shot campaign.
I'm wearing the t-shirt in the freaking interview with Marley. Therefore, it's true. It popped up in the future. Must be real. Tinfoil's downstairs. But it's from her Calling My Shot campaign. That is the VIP program. And when I was going through that program, I felt this deep calling to Calling My Shot is something big. It's not just saying, I want to get 1,000 followers on my YouTube channel. No, I want something bigger. I wanted to change the world, but I didn't know how to say it. I didn't know how to get that message across. This is Marley answering that question. This is her saying, Calling My Shot isn't these low bar, slightly tangible next steps in our business. Calling your shot is, how are you going to stand on your mountaintop? How are you going to change the world as an entrepreneur? Because you're not just in it for transactions. And that's what we say here in the visibility hacking world. We're not just here for transactions. We're here for connection. That's our calling. If we're going to say, I'm going to stand up in front of the world and get canceled for something, I don't want to get canceled. But if I'm going to like wear a logo like Steve is a capitalist pig and take slack for it, well, this is what I believe in. This, starting your messages, supporting your messages, your missions, and your movements, that is what's going to change the world. That's what I think is the genius behind this. It's the next step. I see it as the next logical step in the movement she created. She's already started.
I think you just get to a point. Yeah, no, and I mean, you like all valid points. I think you get to a certain spot as an entrepreneur where you've also just exhausted the typical talking head. You've said it. You've said it 10 times, 100 times, hell, even 1,000 times. It's like, how many more times can you really say it before, like, you go dry, you become dust in the wind? Like, you have to, like, you're not gonna, like, not reinvent the wheel, but reinvent your wheel. Like that has to happen at some point, because there's only so many reasons as to why you can and cannot do something. Let's be honest. Like, how many more of these videos are we going to watch? How many more videos are we going to watch on there's something I wish I knew when I first started? Like, come on. Like, let's cut the crap content and really get out there as entrepreneurs. And that's, I feel like, yeah, Marley did take a risk in terms of potentially even like harming her own brand. But like, at the same time, I also feel like, for example, if she, let's say, lost 1,000 followers, she gained 2,000, just because there's going to be people that are going to watch that and they're going to be like, shit, that was dope as hell. You killed it. I want to know more about you.
Yeah. Here's an interesting question, because I know someone's going to ask it, so might as well get it out there. Is if someone not as well known as Marley was to have done what she did, would it have been the same result?
Okay. So
maybe they just run ads to it, bunch of strangers coming into their world that don't really know them. So now there's no one to really defend you.
I think it depends on the topic. Because I don't think this was about Marley or Dan.
No.
I think this was about topic.
But are we talking about the same topic?
We saw a unified group of people in the entrepreneur, let's just say the ClickFunnels space, who are usually really supportive of each other, now totally split down the middle, vicious at each other over a topic. So I think if it was a very controversial topic, like, I don't know, pineapple belongs on pizza. That to me is I will stand on the top of I will hurt people because I believe that pineapple belongs on pizza. Okay, deal with it. So if that's what I'm willing to
I will
to put
burn
my neck
it
out
all for pineapple on pizza.
That if there was like a nobody, let's just say a nobody puts out a piece of content about something controversial, runs their ads to it, it's about the topic that creates the controversy that I think would be the indicator of how much spread that would get and how effective it would be.
Well, let's say it's an exact mirror image, right? It's the same hook, same topic. Let's say it's like the Marley's entire script word for word, like exact 100% replica, just with somebody who is lesser known or not known at all. I still feel like there would be curiosity with or without ads. I feel like that title alone has so much like SEO power behind it that it would I feel like it doesn't matter who it is. I think the topic is so good on its own that if I don't know who you are, I would be curious to find out who you are. But the fact that everybody knows who put that out makes it even better because we know who did it.
Well, I think it supercharges it too. Like I said, I know someone's going to ask that question, so I just wanted to address it.
Yeah, it's a great question.
I know that because there's always people that say, "Oh, well, you're different because you have this gigantic audience. Oh, you're different because it must be so easy or so whatever it is. It must be so this because you have this." And it's generally not the case. I think if you were a nobody coming out with it, it would do one of two things and no gray area. It would either go not make any noise at all, or it might even get bigger because you're an unknown.
Yeah.
So I think that's interesting too, is that you could come out of nowhere and just like rocket ship into the ether of conversation with something like that. But you got to really believe it.
Yeah.
Like
and
Marley
I
really,
thought that
she really believes it.
Oh, yeah.
You can feel it in her content and just her speaking. You got to believe it. You don't want to just rinse and repeat this now and be like, "Oh, I'm going to get a lot of attention." It's attention for the wrong reason. She made this for a very specific, strategic reason to start a conversation. And here we are.
Absolutely.
Success.
Yep.
So
I thought another really successful thing.
I'm sorry.
I thought another really successful thing that she did was starting out with, I've been canceled in the past on a scale that was what I thought was really big, but is in this scheme really small. And I bet the majority of people watching didn't know about that situation. But she starts out with a bang. I've gone through what I thought was cancellation, which was at a level that a lot more people are more able to connect with that level of cancellation. When people start spreading rumors, when people are talking behind your back, I think that's more relatable to a lot of people. But the sensationalized what she created, that's going to get people's eyeballs. That draws the conversation. That frames the conversation. That ultimately leads to, it sounds really woo-woo, but changing the world, because we're starting by changing the conversation.
Yeah. So I just want to make sure that people know, like, if they try and rinse and repeat this, it's not going to work the same. Especially if you're trying to direct this towards a product or a service, it's going to just fall apart.
Oh,
because this is not for sales. This is for the heart. And so we asked Marley, what's coming next? What does she have dialed in next? And we'll switch over to that to go ahead and finish. You are the YouTube queen. Like, you are amazing at it. You have to where you help people create amazing videos that have changed their lives. So how does this play into that? Or is this the bigger thing now that YouTube now plays into?
I've never felt worthy of the title YouTube queen, because I didn't feel like sure, I teach YouTube and I like to use YouTube as a platform, but I haven't felt like that there was anything that I was like, yes, this is like my vision, this is my dream until this. In creating this documentary and the plans that we have moving forward, now I'm like, this is my vision, this is the dream coming true, that I didn't know how to put those pieces together until now. And so, yeah, moving forward on the channel, like all I want to do is create content like this. And, you know, at my programs and things like that, I will teach people how to create content like this instead of the talking head content. I want to shift that, like, you know, what I was saying, content for the 1%. Only 1% of YouTube channels get to 100,000 subscribers. And what are the 1% doing? Well, they're not doing just like, you know, have ChatGPT spit out a script for them and just talk to their iPhone camera. It can work for some people, but like, how do we really stand out? So, you know, I just want to be an example with my content. And if people, you know, want me to teach them along the way, great. But again, this is not meant to be a sales pitch at all. I'm like, this is just something that I'm passionate about. And of course, you know, I want to find a way to monetize it so that I can keep creating these passion projects. If I didn't need to like work and all I could do was just make this content, that's all I want to do.
Oh, I love that so much. I love that so much. And you can tell the passion in your voice when you talk about it. And that's when I talk to people, that's what I look for. I look for the moment where their voice gets a little higher, where they get excited, they lean in. And everything you're talking about is the lean in. And so I'm just so excited for you. I'm so happy for you. And I think it's an amazing accomplishment that you've done here. It made a dent in the world, which is all what we all hope to do. I really feel that it did that. And I mean, it's almost 5,000 views, 20 hours. That documentary is up and it's kicking. That thing is moving. YouTube's like, yeah, all right, this is awesome. Show it, show it, show it. So I'm just, it's amazing. And just know that we here at Visibility Hacking Studios are tremendous fans, huge supporters, and we will be here cheering you on every step of the way.
Thank you so much. That means so much to me.
I can't wait for more. I can't. Honestly, I'm one to be disruptive. So for me, I was like, yes, I love this. I love it.
All right. So thank you guys so much for joining us here. And Marley, thank you so much for joining us. We truly, truly appreciate it. What you've done is absolutely incredible. For those of you guys that haven't seen this thing, what are you doing? Go check it out. We are going to link it in the comments. We'll link it everywhere that we can. You are not going to be able to not see the link. So go watch it immediately and do me a favor, comment on it. Maybe it's something that you haven't commented on before. Maybe you're not a commenter. Maybe you don't usually engage. I highly encourage you, engage this time. Comment, be a part of something. Let people know your opinion, because it just might affect someone in a way that changes their course for the better. So we will see you guys on the next Friday Night Live, back to our normal schedule. Thank you so much, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye, guys.